be here with Katie with We So Nerdy, and we are so happy to be here with you guys trying something new.
Hi.
So, Katie says hi. So you know that Outlander is one of our favorite things and has been for a really long time. We just finished live tweeting the season premiere actually, and our full recap is live. I'll actually make sure to put the link in the bottom so you can click on it and you can go check it out too. So yeah, as I said, we wanted to try something new this season. Katie and I always have lots to say about Outlander, and we usually spend our time on Voxer or iMessage or FaceTime doing so. So we thought that it'd be, let's try something new and try doing video recaps this season. So basically, we just want to flail over Outlander. We want to share our feels. We want to talk about our questions and things like that, and hopefully hear from you guys too. So you guys, please always feel free to share your thoughts about the series as a whole, whatever, with us too. So a couple things before we get started. Speaking of, I've read the books, at least up until A Breath of Snow and Ashes, and Katie has not read the books. However, she knows a lot of the book things.
I know so much about the books because I don't like angst and I don't like reading angst. So I Googled the plot, and so I know everything. I just spared myself the thousands of pages of reading it. Yes, because that's me. That's who I am.
It's her truth, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I am happy to confirm things. She always asks questions, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want to know?" And she says yes, and then I tell her all the things.
Yeah.
Also, I should say that Katie and I actually both saw the season premiere at Comic-Con in July when they surprised the panel with The Battle Joined. Katie and I were actually sitting right next to each other, and I remember grabbing her hand. I remember screaming. I remember having hot flashes as well. So it was just a really overwhelming experience. Katie?
It was so overwhelming, and I remember going into it at the panel knowing that it was 90 minutes long and us discussing it beforehand, like they were going to show us something or it wouldn't be 90 minutes long. And just like everyone just like a collective just scream like when they announced that they were going to show the premiere, and then again a collective gasp at the end when that nurse like busts up and just, where'd she get the red hair? And everybody just it was fantastic. It was
the life ruiner. She's a life ruiner. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So I guess actually, Katie, that's a really great transition because, like, I guess the first thing, just opening it up, what did you think about The Battle Joined? What stood out most to you? What are the things that still linger in your mind?
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, the first thing, it's going to be like a little humorous thing, is they managed to get in one last mark me before, like, season 2, like, I just sort of wanted to wring his neck, like, every time it was, mark me, James. Oh, and they managed to sneak that in one last time on me. But it's just this overwhelming sense of loss throughout the episode. I mean, you follow it with Jamie all the way through all of his segments. You see it with Claire as she kind of comes to terms with losing Jamie. And it's just, this whole episode is about loss. And we kind of, at the end, it gets a little bit more hopeful-ish. But it's just, everyone is losing things. And it's so sad for me to see that.
Yeah.
Sam does an outstanding job portraying Jamie's loss, I think.
I agree with you completely. I think that's what stood out most to me about this episode, is that like everyone is just dealing with this overwhelming sense of grief. Like they have lost something the will to live isn't even completely there, and they're just sort of like plugging in, day out. Like you mentioned Sam. So after we saw it at Comic-Con, I remember like for days afterwards, just not being able to let go of Sam's performance. To me, I mean, the episode is phenomenal, but for me, Sam is the shining star in this episode. Like, he barely says anything, but his eyes, the way he's breathing, like, you can just tell that this man is ready to die. He doesn't want to live anymore. He's done. And that grief is just devastating. It hurts so much to watch that.
Oh, I agree. Like, the way Sam just, I mean, it's just the close-ups of his face and his eyes. And there's the one scene, like right when Rupert gets ready to walk out, or he's walking out and he's no longer in the room, and it's just a shot of Sam and his eyes. We're not even seeing Rupert's death, but we're just watching, you know, Jamie experience that. It's incredible. Like, Sam's performance is absolutely incredible.
It is. I agree completely. And let's just start throwing Emmys at Sam. Let's throw all the Emmys, all the People's Choice Awards, all the awards, just throw them at Sam, because I mean, if this first episode is any indication, like, he is just really, really going to blow us away in this season. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm scared a little bit because, I mean, as I said, I read the books and Katie knows all the things. Like, separation is just the thing that's going to happen for a while. Like, Claire and Jamie are just going to be apart. And when they're apart, that means they're just going to move on with their lives. And that means new relationships, right? That means new relationships. But Katie's face right now. But should we not talk about it? We won't talk about it. We'll save it for next time, maybe.
It has taken me quite a long time to come to terms with the fact that it's been 20 years and things happen in 20 years. And just, I'm not a fan of it, but I accept it and I understand it now. I'm being an adult. As Frank was saying, we need to be adults about this.
Frank, okay, so let's talk about Frank, because I mean, there's lots we want to talk about, but since you mentioned it, let's talk about Frank. So you know that I despise Book Frank. I think Book Frank is mean, he's abusive, he is kind of racist a little bit, he's kind of racist a little bit. So, like, Book Frank is not a person that I like. To me, his most redeeming quality is the fact that he loved Bree, and he really, really cared about Bree. And you even see it in tonight's episode, right? That he is prepared to raise this child as his own. But Tobias, I don't know. Tobias just takes it to a whole nother level. Like, every feeling of hate that I felt towards Frank, I don't feel it when Tobias is involved. Like, he's hilarious, he's charming, he's really trying his best, he really wants this with Claire. And I mean, it's Tobias for sure, and it's the writing as well. It's probably the writing as well that just takes Frank to a place that I wasn't expecting. I feel a lot of feelings about him.
And that's one of those things it's been since season 1 too. Because, like, I've always, like, Jamie and Claire are in game, like, I want this, but I've always felt, like, sort of bad for Frank in a little bit of a way. And, like, especially this first episode, I mean, and I know it's Tobias. I mean, just, he's incredible, but you can feel his frustration. You can empathize with the situation that he's in just by the way he tries and the way that he is still kind of supporting her, and I feel horrible for him, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, you know, this is never gonna work. You both have so much just resentment for each other that it's just like this toxic place to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, his acting is another thing that's just unreal. Like, 'cause I love him. like, I don't want him to end up with Claire, but I'm like, I like this guy, you know, he tried.
Yeah, that's where I am too. And I think like by the time we get to the end of the episode and like Claire and Frank are together, their baby is here, and you know, they're saying this is gonna be a new beginning. And you can tell that they really mean it, right? Like this can be a new start for them, that you know, they've struggled before and they might not be the way they were before, but maybe they can build something new. And that's really encouraging. At least until that nurse, the life ruiner, comes in and asks foolish questions about red hair. No one asked you, nurse. Like, stay out of their business. But you just tell, right, that after that, like, where did she get the red hair? And that's just like, it snaps us back to reality.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The nurse, I mean, like, you can make up some random story, like, oh, there's red hair and somebody's, you know, past, you know, grandmother or whatnot. But for them, like, they know.
Yeah.
Like, Claire knows, Frank knows, and this nurse is just trying to start conversation after they've taken away Claire's agency in her childbirth.
Now, are we going to talk about that?
Yes, that needs to be discussed.
That was okay. So I know. Okay, I have lots to say. Right? So the entire time, right? We've just known that the 1940s are misogynist, and this shouldn't have surprised me, but I was pretty shocked. But even more so than the interaction with the dean, like Frank's boss, the situation in the hospital makes me the most angry and the most upset. The fact that the doctor, she's saying, no, do not put me under. I'm intelligent. I can decide the way I want to have my child. And the doctor totally takes away her agency and it's just like, nope, we're going to put you under. I was so, like, that is a violation. It's a total violation. Yes. I'm so upset. I'm still so upset about it.
I remember watching it in San Diego and just like jaw drop, like, I can't believe they just did that to her. Because even though horrible things happened to Claire when she was back in the 1700s, and she almost had more agency over her body, over how she would give birth, over how she would have her children. And then in 1940, it's like, we're going to talk over the hospital bed and pretend you're not here. Oh, and I was just, that made me so ragey.
I agree. And I think it's really interesting what you say about Claire having more like independence and more agency in the 1740s. It almost feels backwards, right? That in the 1740s, you would think that, you know, she would have less freedom, and that's not the case. I mean, like, you think of like probably Scottish Highland society, I think women probably had more agency than like otherwise, but it was definitely a thing about Jamie too, right? Like Jamie, like, I think back to, you remember the episode when they were first married and Jamie tries to spank her, or not Jamie tries, Jamie does spank her. So like he's trying to like assert some sort of like male, not superiority, but some sort of dominance over her, that I'm gonna teach her, I'm gonna punish her. And Claire's like, no, that's not what this is about. And Jamie steps in and he's like, okay, fine. Like that's just not how it's gonna be between us again, right? So even like in their relationship, you can tell that it's a relationship of equals. And I mean, that's not to say that Frank doesn't back Claire up. He does back her up.
Yeah.
But it's just not enough.
And I guess that's probably just a product of that time period too. Just Frank does, like, when the dean is kind of like almost like head patting her, like, oh, you sweet person with your thoughts and your books, and you know, she kind of reaches up and grabs Frank's hand on her shoulder and starts squeezing it. Mm-hmm. And like, you can tell that he's thankful that she's holding back because he knows what she's capable of saying and doing, just ripping this man to shreds. And then it's just, Frank's, you know, he's just like, how do you navigate in this world where she shouldn't have this much of a voice?
Yeah.
And then Jamie's kind of like, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. But even like
her,
So I'm thinking, because they always said that she was like a wise woman, that she was a white lady. So like even that was sort of a justification. Like, yeah, she's a woman, but she's a different kind of woman, right? So she's like a woman that's not of our time. She's not of our place. So yeah, she's gonna do like eccentric stuff. Yeah, she's gonna perform surgery on people, but that's just how it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she's just, that's just her. She's just doing her own fun thing. They just kind of, that's her. In 1940s, they're like, you should just probably be quiet and make sure to cook your meals on the stove. That way your husband doesn't come home and be like, this is odd.
Yeah. You don't want to surprise your husband. You don't want to do anything out of the ordinary. You want to look pretty when you meet the boss. You want to be silent, I guess, when you meet the boss, even though we have to point out as a history lover, politics lover, we have to point out that Claire was right. And did in fact win the election against Dewey in 1948. So Claire was vindicated by history. And Dean Jackson, you can suck it.
I want a preview, like just a time jump into the future a little bit, with Claire being like, so who won the presidential election again?
No, I was watching, maybe you saw it too. It's the interview, I think it was the interview with Katrina and Sam on The View last week. And they were asking Katrina about some of the misogyny that Claire deals with. And Katrina said something really interesting, that like for Claire, misogyny is her fuel, right? Like this doctor is completely horrible to her, takes away her agency. So she's like, you know what, screw you. I'm going to become a surgeon because I know the way to do it, right? Like, what do you mean I don't know politics, or I should be reading the Globe, or women can't go to medical school? I'm going to show all of you that I can do this. So our darling Claire.
Yeah, she's got this under control. Like she will handle this. And I know that the things that are coming up are going to be really hard to deal with. And I know that she can handle it, and she will persevere. She will get through it. I'm worried about me. Like, I know she comes out the other side, okay, but there's me, and I'm just kind of.
No, for sure. Like, you just know that Claire is going to be okay. Claire's going to be okay. She's always okay.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, this separation, this is episode 1. So, like, episode 1 down, however many left to go until they're together again, right? So we're just like, but at the same time, like, I feel bad, like, just counting down to the reunion, because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I want to appreciate Claire's life and appreciate Claire's accomplishments, like, even without Jamie, even though it's really hard. Like, this is me trying to be an adult about this. Even though what I really want to say is, can they just get back together tomorrow? But I don't know.
Well, see, for me, what happened is last season 2 finale, whenever, or it might not have been the finale, but whenever Galus goes back through the stones, I'm like, okay, we know how to get back through the stones. Not like I'm not advocating like killing another person to get back through the stones, but I'm like, Claire knows how to get back through the stones now. So yay, she's gonna get to go see Jamie. But then season 3 started, and it's like, let me tell you about the 20 years they were separated. Yeah. So I'm like, but no, we've already known that. Let's get back to this. Yeah. And so I do want to speed it up, but at the same time, I want to appreciate what Claire accomplishes, because, she's lost Jamie. She's lost this life that she really loved, and you can see that she loved that life so much that, she was cooking over an open fire as a way to kind of gain comfort in a way, as something familiar. Yeah. And that broke my heart in a way. But she's got Bree. So she has this part of Jamie that she can hold on to and kind of use as motivation, and it's beautiful. And then on the other side of it, Jamie really doesn't have anything.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so many feelings. You're right.
And
You're
so
right.
that's another reason why it took me a while to kind of get over the fact that it's been 20 years and there are other relationships. But then I realized Claire has Bree. Claire has a part of Jamie with her. Jamie has nothing of Claire.
No.
Like, she's gone. When he says she's gone, she is gone.
Yeah.
And that's got to be so heartbreaking for him to just move forward and not have someone or not even have a piece of her.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, right? Because like as soon as he descends from Craig Nadun, Craig Nadun, he's ready to die, right? Like he packs up like the blankets and everything. He rides his horse and he's like, look, I'm ready to die in defense of my country right here, right now. And like every time he tries to die, he just keeps getting thwarted and thwarted and thwarted. And it's like, I just feel so bad. I just feel so bad for him. It's quite devastating.
It is. And there's a part of me that at the very end, when Jenny is there and he's kind of like awake or conscious briefly, and she says, you're at Lollybrock or you're home. There's a part of me that thinks that believes he's died a little.
Yeah.
That he thinks that he's died and he's, home because this is heaven. And I'm really kind of worried about seeing him being fully awake and aware.
Yeah. No, it's I think about the books, right? And actually it's a departure from the books, because in the books, at least again up until where I've read, we don't know what happens at the Battle of Culloden. Like all we know, and again, I've only read till A Breath of Snow and Ashes, right? So all we know is that Jamie wakes up on the battlefield and a dead Blackjack Randall is on top of him. He does not know what their confrontation was like. He does not know how Blackjack died. He knows none of that. Or at least we don't know. He might know at a certain point, but we don't know, right? So it's a bit of it is really quite a departure to see all of Culloden, or as much of Culloden as we actually do. And even that, right, is a really emotional scene, or a really emotional
something going on there.
Okay, you need to. Okay, you say what you were gonna say.
Okay, well, I think that Blackjack Randall and Jamie have had such a terrible relationship, but during that battle, there is a feel of eroticism in that fight.
Boom.
Because they're just in the way that they're holding each other, and the way that like Jamie's face is near his face and he's breathing in his ear, and it's
yes.
There is that feel to it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I remember watching it with you, like at Comic-Con, just going, this is not just them killing you. This is something else too. There's an underlying definite feeling of just kind of an eroticism about their fight and the way they die. Even how Blackjack Randall falls on top of him at the end and is covering his body. Yeah, that's there. Like, you can't deny that. It's there.
The thing is that, so Blackjack Randall has always, so how can I say this without sounding like I'm excusing? He is evil, right? And he is evil. He is a depraved individual. He is a rapist. He is a murderer. He is not a good person in any way, right? But I hate saying "but" here. But
what does it say? Ned Stark, everything before "but" is like bullshit.
No, but I need it. But I need it. He's a terrible individual, but you can tell he sort of loves Jamie. Like, you remember in season 2, I can't remember it was the episode where Claire had made a deal with Blackjack to like help Alex, who was dying, and help like comfort him and soothe him, right? And they were having a conversation in a tavern, and he was like, I know the face that Jamie makes.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? And I was just like, you know, so
that was unnecessary.
it was completely unnecessary, but it told us something, right? It told us that Blackjack does have like, I think he has like a romantic is it, I don't have the words, but he has an attraction, like a physical, potentially romantic, borderline romantic attraction to Jamie. So when you say that that scene had like was erotic, that I definitely got that. Like the breaths, even like I think about the scene where they passed out, it's nighttime, and their faces are so close, it looks like if it's just a little bit closer that they could like kiss each other.
Yes.
You know? And like that has to be purposeful, right? Like we're not making that up. That has to be purposeful.
No, that because fight scenes are choreographed. Like, and to have that fight scene in that way and to end up in that way and to see those shots purposefully made that it's all meant to highlight that underlying relationship that they have. Like, even though Jamie was never a consenting partner, because even though he does at the end of season 1 kind of does consent, it's not, he doesn't want to do it. It's under duress.
Oh yeah, that's
and so it's still rape, but this whole that fight kind of underlined their whole relationship.
Yeah, it did.
With there still being something sexual there.
Yeah, yeah. You have the words. You could say it a lot better than I could say it.
Oh,
so I was at Outlander, the Outlander, they don't want to call it a premiere, but the EW screening in New York, like earlier. And I went to the Q&A, and there was actually, I can't remember who asked it. It might have been an audience question about, like, what does Jamie think about the end? What does Sam think about how Jamie and Blackjack Randall's, like, how they come to an end? And I remember Sam saying something like that he thought it was a pretty fitting end because their triangle, like the Jamie, Blackjack Randall, Claire triangle, has gone on for so long and it's been so toxic. So for it to end in this way on the battlefield, with Jamie being the one to like finally take him out, that it is a fitting end to a really, really toxic triangle. So, and actually, we have an exclusive interview with Sam and Kate that will be going on the site on Tuesday.
yes,
That's a thing that I learned from the Q&A.
That's awesome. That, like, if the one that you did?
No. So this was, so they had the red carpet, and then they had the screening, and then they had the Q&A that EW like moderated. So it was during that there was like a fan question about it. So I wrote down some notes, so I will make sure to write that part up better. But yeah, they had actually a lot to say. Like in the interview that I did with Kate, like I asked her specifically about the misogyny that that Claire was dealing with in the hospital scene, because that's the one that stood out most to me. And she talked about some of her thoughts there around like issues of like labor and maternity agency and things like that, even in the contemporary sense. So Kate is so brilliant. She's so brilliant. So that interview will be available as well.
That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. That's great.
Yay. Okay. What else do we want to say?
I'm trying.
Rupert.
Oh, Rupert. Oh.
Pour one out for the homies. Even though mine doesn't really spill because it has a top. Pour one out for the homies because Rupert went out like a G. And when I say G, I mean a gangster and I mean a gentleman. because that's totally how he went out. Like, I love how, so there are a few scenes that stand out most to me with Rupert. The scene where Lord Melton arrives and he's like, nope, we're all traitors here, right? So he doesn't like try to run away from anything. The second scene where he tries to save the boys, the young boys, but it doesn't work out. And then the third scene where he not forgives Jamie, but he's like, look, it's not my place to judge you for killing Dougal. God's going to do that, but you and I are going to part ways as friends. And I'm emotional. It was so good.
It is. It's so good, and it hurts so much because, and like you said, like that first scene, whenever the English soldiers show up, and they're like, we're looking for traitors, and they're like, well, you found us.
All of us.
Like, there's no going around it. He's not going to try and get out of it. He's like, we're here. This is us, and we'll accept whatever punishment. Mm-hmm. And then it's such a beautiful moment. He's like, these are just kids. Just let them go. They're kids. They were just doing what they were told to do. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful. And he exhibits such honor, and as he for not necessarily forgives, but says, hey, we're okay, Jamie. Yeah. And he says, I'll go. And his face and his just whole body posture as he kind of steps. It's so sad. And then there's a part of me that goes, Angus, he's gonna get to see his friend again. Because I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the deaths last year that hurt so much.
Because it came out of nowhere.
And that hurt so much. And then there's this other part of me who's now extremely worried, and I need to figure out where Murtaugh is.
Oh.
Like, where is he? Because I didn't see his body. I didn't see any English soldiers like shank him and take his things. He wasn't in there with Jamie. So where is he? Because until I see a body, the man is alive.
Okay. No, I mean, I'm with you on that.
Show me a body, or it didn't happen.
No, you're right on that one. I mean, that's a good question. When Murtaugh did pop up, it's just like Murtaugh, and he was like, the Lollybrook men, they're safely home. So now we can do what we need to do here. And then he saves Jamie, and then he's off again, right? And you're just like, oh, gosh, what? And that's the thing. Like, I keep coming back to this, like this loss and this grief, because I can't imagine being Jamie. Like, these men, these are his people, men he's loved, right? These are men that he's grown up with. These are men that he's been responsible for. Right? And he's just like losing them one after another, after another, after another. It's just so devastating. But yeah, pour one out. Pour one out. And a gentleman. A gentleman. Pour one out.
I'm reserving that because I'm holding on to Murtaugh.
Okay, no, I encourage you to hold on, and I hold on with you. Yeah, because until there's a body, anything's possible.
Yeah, I didn't see a body, so it happened. But I'm trying to think of one thing that I was going to say about that whole Jamie. Seeing all of his friends and his clansmen, his family die, and the whole time, like, he wants to die. He's like, if you're not gonna shoot me, just leave me alone. Like, he's done with everything. He doesn't want anybody talking to him. He doesn't want any of this nonsense. Mm-hmm. He's just like, just kill me. And he just always keeps like barely making it out every time. And this poor guy just wants to die. And like, instead of him getting to die, everybody else dies. Oh. And so I'm really worried that Jamie, and I mean, it's quite obvious he's going to have some issues with that, I imagine. Like, just some type of like PTSD or guilt,
Sure.
survivor's guilt, because I don't understand how he could go through something like that and then just pop out the other side and be okay again. I think
there's definitely, no, you're right. There's definitely lingering issues that are, at least in the books, right, that are years to come. we'll just leave it at that. But of course, we will talk more as the season proceeds.
Yes.
Potentially one last thing. Okay. So I'm just going to say it. Lord Melton, yes, he is a red coat, but he's an honorable red coat, right?
I mean, like on a scale of like, saving Jamie to like killing some young boys.
Okay, so
his word to his family.
He was like, so like, okay, so when he was like, no, you're gonna no man in the king's whatever is gonna be shot lying down, not on my watch.
Okay, yeah,
that's honorable, right? He's like, he's gonna prop these. If we're gonna take them out, we're gonna take them out like men, right, on their feet. I think that's respectable.
That was respectable, but then there's also like, these guys are dying anyway, so do we really need to prop them up and shoot them, or should we just kind of like let them go with God and let that happen on its own?
But that's what he did with Jamie, though. He was like, Jamie, this man is probably gonna die, but it won't be on my head, or it won't be on my family. So he kind of did do that, Katie.
Yeah, he did. He put Jamie in like a back of a hay truck and was like, I didn't see him. It didn't happen.
Oh God.
I felt like, I know that these things are convenient, like plot devices and stuff like that. But I mean, seriously though, how convenient that this one English person that Jamie saved like years ago, his brother just like happens to be the dude that opens the door. I'm like, and I mean, honestly, that's Jamie's luck. That is Jamie's luck. He's like, I want to die. And then all of a sudden someone's like, no, you're not going to die.
Not today.
Not today, Jamie. Not today.
Not today. And off you go, right back to Lollybrook. But then you sort of have to speculate, right? Like, yeah, he's in Lollybrook, but he's still a wanted man. So it's not like Lord Melton sent him off to like live a happily ever after or something. Melton knew what he was doing, right? That, we'll let whoever else gets him at the end, they'll handle it, right?
Yeah, because Jamie can't go back to Lollybrook and just be like, well, this is my place, so I'm going to take back over.
Yeah.
He's going to have to, he's not going to be in the house or with his sister or anything like that. He's going to be hiding again.
And we come right back around full circle to the loss. To loss. Because he's lost Claire, he's lost Lollybrook, he's lost his countrymen, you know what I mean? So
he's in a very vulnerable place.
Yeah. And you know what happens to men in vulnerable places?
They sometimes make decisions that for comfort.
Like sexy times decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. But we save that for another time.
Yes, that's later.
That is later.
That's later.
If they go by the books, there's a lot happening later, but soon too.
Thank you, Google.
Thank you, Diana.
Yes, thank you, Diana, and then thank you the people who put that on Google for me.
Fair enough.
It's appreciated.
Fair enough.
Yes.
So that's all I have, Katie. How about you?
Yes, I think we've covered our general feelings about this entire process, and now we go into next week with I guess figuring out where they both go from here, growing or changing.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So, like, 1 year down, 19 to go.
Oh no.
I know. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to like quantify it like that, but
That sounds so wrong.
we'll get through it together, though. That's the thing. We will get through it
Together.
together.
All of us.
Together.
Together.
In our prayer circle, in our hugging circle, in our drinking whiskey circle. We'll all get through
Flipping table circle.
and flipping tables.
There's going to be so many tables flipped.
Yes. Feelings. So I have to say again, please check out our full recap. I'll put it in the link at the bottom. Thank you for joining me and Katie as we discuss the Battle Joint. I hope we can do this every week, right? I really want us to do this every week. Okay, because this is actually really fun. So I hope we can do this every week, and make sure that you watch and rewatch on the Stars Play app, because we can never get enough. Katie, any final words?
Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and keep live tweeting with us, and we will get through this season together. And hey, remember, Jamie and Claire, they're in game. It's going to be fine.
I can't even say it any better. So thank you very much, guys, and make sure to share your thoughts and feelings with us in comments. See you soon.